Hi, it's Chris, and welcome back to the sea. What do we have on the show today? Well, it's no joke that I like hard drives.
Oh shit.
From the Quizlab Cybertruck to the Oracle X50 to the ACASys to the Vantech to the whatever to the Thunder Rate to the No Name to a case with a M2 to a cassette tape to a Seagate to an M-Tech, and they all have their strengths and they have gone through iterations of time, starting originally with a 512 SSD to replace a rotational hard drive, and then I went to a 2.5 inch solid states, and then we went to this whatever USB Type-C. Then I found this one with a touchscreen, USB 10 gig, works great. Then I found another one with a touchscreen that works great too. These are RGB enabled, so they're cool. Then I got the Thunderbolt with the ACASys, did a really good job, the Oracle X50, and finally the Quizlab's Cybertruck, what I'm calling it, drive, Thunderbolt. When there was one other company out there that is a major player in the storage area network game, and I figured, you know what? Why not? This is the Terra Master D1 SSD Pro portable SSD enclosure. Says 80 gig per second. Thunderbolt 4. So it says ready for Thunderbolt 4 and 5 USB-C 433130 SSD 2280 7000 megs per second 100% passive cooling. Windows 10, 11, Mac OS 12 Plus. Performance varies by test conditions. So as always, we're going to put a Gen 5 NVMe in it. Samsung 9800 Pro, 9100 Pro, I forget. We're going to slide her beautiful self off. I greatly enjoy these hard drive cases, as you can tell. Box is a really rigid construction. That's always nice. You get a user manual packed in a cardboard cutout. Inside, you'll get a quick installation guide in Mandarin with a QR code, multi-language, TPC backup software from Terra Master, multi-language, compensation promises, some Cyrillic, and also your limited warranty. Sounds great. Okay, so we're not going to focus on the backup software. We are going to focus on the drive. It comes in a nice case. That's important because, as you can see with my other drives, I have a problem with storing them. Inside of this is another box which gives you a heat pad. I opened it the wrong way. A screwdriver. Hopefully she's magnetic. And that is it. Heat pad. Extremely thin bubble gum. Not a fan of this right now. Textured, but it's extremely thin. We'll see. Inside, you get a Thunderbolt cable of 80 gig per second, 240 watt, USB-C to C, that's good. The drive case itself is packaged very well. This is supposed to have the best passive cooling out there. TerraMaster doesn't mess around. They make network attached, direct attached storage devices. That is one of my go-to wants to do something else with the Xserve project. Here's your unit. Look at the heat pipes on this. I always have a problem with the devices getting hot. The Oracle and the ACASys are the only ones that actually had some cooling. The Cybertruck drive does a pretty good job because of its, the Quizlabs does a pretty good job because of its heat sink. But this changes the game entirely. Not only do you get massive heat pipes on the bottom, but you hit them on the top too. I guess you could stick it straight up. It does have feet on the bottom, so it would sit like so. How do I open it? There's a single screw right here. This comes apart to reveal your inside. There is a step one, peel this off before your application. The drive for this test is a Samsung 9100 Pro Gen 5 1 terabyte NVMe SSD. We're going to remove the 2280 screw. Please note there are no 22, 30, 40, 72. It is a 2280 only. This drive, unlike every other manufacturer, and this is a good thing, has a standard screw, not the kind that you have to wrap around the drive and try to line up and get involved. Brass connection or copper, great there. Oh yeah, look at that. It's got a grip to it like a snakeskin pattern. It looks like there's also a light right here. This will then just sit down, and we will put the single screw, which is magnetic, back in. The screw that doesn't come out, we're going to put in. That is going to bond that heat tape to this. Give it a squish to make sure we're down. That's it. It is locked in place. And for first initial testing, as I got my 20 core Windows machine here, we're just going to borrow the cable. So we're going to run the Blackmagic speed test, which is all I need. And we're going to plug in this new drive. This is going to be USB Type-C on the Windows machine. We're going to select target drive, and we're going to tell it the 1 terabyte Gen 5, and we're going to say start. Start. USB Type-C is in the toilet. I mean, this is megabytes per second. That's still good. 880 megabytes per second. But we want to see what this does on the Thunderbolt 4/5. So that's Windows. That's USB Type-C. Safe to remove drive. Perfect. Leave that on the screen, and let's go to the Mac. Blackmagic speed test. We're going to select the target drive, which is my 1 terabyte Gen 5. And now, how do we do on Thunderbolt compared to Windows 800 megs? Boom! 3600. That's really good. 2800, 3617, 2851, 3610, 2850. So that is why I'm addicted to Thunderbolt right there. Yeah! So as you can see here, this is from my video I did on the original. The ACA sys was 3380. The Orco was 4026, 390. It's still the same exact hard drive, different Thunderbolt cases. 3610, 2850 on read and write. This is read, this is write. Write is faster. 3383, 2789. So this is on par with the Thunderbolt 5 of the ACA sys. The Orco, 4000 and 3000. So it's a couple hundred megs faster. Now, this is nothing to balk at regardless of Orco, ACA sys, or even TerraMaster. Now, the cool thing about this, so my first test is a 10.45 gigabyte MPEG-4 that we're going to copy to the new device. Five seconds. That's awesome. And then I'm going to remove this one and copy it back to the Mac internal hard drive. Look at that go. And that's incredibly fast. It is incredibly fast. Let's copy it a couple times. So this is 20 gigs. 20 gigs from the Mac desktop. 5, 6, 7, 9, 10 gigs. 11, 12, 13, 15, 17. That wasn't even 10 seconds. 20 gigs. So that is on par with 80 gig per second range. And incredible for the TerraMaster. Now, what I do like about this drive is the heat dissipation that this offers. While it may not look traditional, like we're looking for a traditional looking hard drive, it does have rubber feet or silicone feet here and look totally normal in place with the other devices. Now what I'm going to do is I got to update my library. So on the left hand side of your screen is the 1 terabyte Gen 5. This is a 2 terabyte. I have to update my iMovie library. It's 283 gigs of data. 283. And it's going to take 2 minutes. 2 minutes to copy 283 gigs of data from my one Thunderbolt 80 gig to another Thunderbolt 80 gig. I'm going to let this copy on purpose to generate some massive heat. So we have a lot of masters in the house. So this is the ThermalMaster P2 Pro. I have a P3 Pro, but this is the box I grabbed. Look at the heat dissipation. You can see it in the Mac tower itself. And you see some other heat here. The SD slots of the Mac Mini. The TerraMaster, or the Quizlabs, is holding at 26 degrees communist. 32.9. Look how that is throwing off the heat. They're right next to each other, comparing apples to oranges. The thermal dynamics of this case far exceeds that of my Cybertruck drive from Quizlabs, which is a great drive. But this thing, it's at 30.8, which isn't hot. Don't let the colors fool you. I mean, my Mac's sitting there supposedly boiling. It's not. The Thunderbolt hub is at 32 on its own. So this is at 31.2. And the other drive, 25. So there we go. Just completed that. 31.4 degrees C. It doesn't even feel warm. This drive, warm. So, the TerraMaster D1 SSD Pro. How much was this? It was 220 bucks. But you can get it off 15% off now at $212. The 40 gig is about $80, but you want the 80 gig Gen 4/5 because technology is changing all the time. As you can see by my collection of many hard drives, and I do use them. What? You use all these hard drives? Yeah, some of them are on my PlayStation, some of them I use for Time Machine backups for my other Macs or this Mac. Some are archival storage for YouTube storage and movie backups. A lot of these are editing drives. The main big 3 Thunderbolts that I have from the 40 to the 80 are the ones I go back and forth either to work, upstairs, downstairs, the video editing machines, and this bad boy. I just beat the crap out of this with hundreds of gigs of data, made a movie on it, and it didn't even get that hot. It didn't get over 31 degrees Celsius. That's like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, maybe 90. Incredible for these drives, because I've had these drives get to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 50 degrees Mexican, and they disconnect. They get like a thermal runaway and then they disconnect, and you gotta wait for them to cool and then fire them back up. I beat on this for well over an hour, like beat on it, and not a problem. So that is my review of my new D1 SSD Pro, and it doesn't mean it's the last, so I will put links in the Amazon affiliate links where I get a penny if you click it 62,000 times. I know that number keeps going up, but TerraMaster D1 SSD Pro, up to 7 gigs per second, all aluminum case with zero noise, USB 4, 3.2, 3.1, 3.0, Thunderbolt 3, 4, or 5. Thunderbolt 3 does have a different plug than USB-C, but you can buy adapters for them. And the D1 SSD Plus is the 40 gig, and it's USB Type-C, Thunderbolt 5, 4, 3, and it's $80. That's a 40 gig. The D1 SSD Pro, a little thicker in the bottom end there, and that's what you want. We like those thick ones nowadays. So listen, I'm not trying to sell you a single thing. Please don't take my review videos as anything other than a review of the stuff I use. I even have a playlist called Reviews of Stuff I Use. And if you're interested, hey, that's great. You know, if not, totally fine by me too. Just please note that I'm not trying to push anything on you, so don't feel like you have to buy something or I'm forcing you to use a product. Not at all. I just review stuff that I use and find interesting and cool, and if you could use it, I'm just sharing the knowledge of real world analytics, I guess you could say, because some of these big content producers have camera crews and filming locations and professional editing, and they don't really just get down to the nitty-gritty to what you want to see. Does it really work good? I wish it had a brighter light. The one thing I do like about the Cybertruck drive is it has a big green headlight. And the green is the Thunderbolt thing. It's kind of like an Xbox. It has that green theme. This has orange for USB, white for Thunderbolt, like many of the other drives that I use. So this is number 2 in speed, but number 1 in thermal management, I guess you could say. And that's the Terra Master. So they don't make any false claims. It does exactly what it says up to the speed that it says. Now my Windows doesn't have a Thunderbolt. It's kind of a Mac thing. I'm sure there are Thunderbolt cards for these machines. And if you're wondering if I'm running a junk machine, this is a 20-core. It is a Intel Core i7 i4700T. 28 cores. I guess I could have read it right there. And that's all I got for this one. Thank you for watching. If you're interested, links in the description below. Just please make sure to click them about 82,000 times a pop so I get $1, maybe. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.
That boy is good. Good and terrible.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?